Oh, hello again for the Plays the Thing. I'm Judy Sleed. I have my good friend Steven Spataro here who helped me with this project. This show is a little different from all the others because I'd like to commemorate, to remember Ágay Irén, who was a leading actress in Budapest in the 20s and 30s, and all the leading magazines like Daily Bob. She was on the cover, and Daily Bob was a popular magazine, just like the People magazine here in the States. So,
That's great. Why did you pick Iran out of all of the celebrities
oh,
that
well, yes,
possibly could
why
be?
did I pick Ágay Irén? Because she was my mother's cousin.
Ah,
Yes, like her mother and my grandmother were sisters. So actually, my mother, her name was Margit, was Irene's first cousin.
ah,
And
interesting.
this is a picture of Irene, and this is a picture her and her husband, Székely István. Yes, and he was a director, and
And
they worked together on, I believe, 17 films, Stephen?
here's the cover of the Daily Bob. Look at that.
Yes. And they,
She made 17 features altogether. When they went on to Hollywood in
yeah, and
1937.
Hollywood called. And I remember when she and her husband were preparing to go to Hollywood, my grandmother had a big dinner for all the relatives so they could say goodbye to their famous relative. And and I remember them leaving in a car and they were waving, and I always felt that they were just waving to me. This is one of her pictures.
Oh, this is what's the title of this film?
It is called Lila Akát, which means purple acacia.
Oh,
And here she's sitting on a bench. They also made a song out of purple acacia. And this young man happens to come by, and he is waiting for his love with a lady. They made a date that they're gonna meet here, but in the meantime, he starts flirting with this young lady, asking her all sorts of questions like, "How old are you, and what are you doing here?" And she's pretending. I don't know if she's pretending, but she's not very happy with him. But he's very happy because he's going to meet with his beloved girlfriend, and he's telling her that she's going to come here and meet him.
very
So
nice, very nice.
she's,
And who is that young man? What is that actor's name?
I don't know who the actor is. That's not a famous actor. And this is the lady he's waiting for. But unbeknownst to him, she's just flirting with all those people, all those guys. That's her hobby, to flirt with everybody and then leave them hanging. But he is just so happy. He wants to kiss everybody. So he's going to demonstrate what he means.
Oh, there he is.
she's not very happy with the kiss. And then he's trying to apologize. How can I make this right? Shall I bring you some sweets from the bakery? And she said, no, 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 just give me a branch of the acacia tree. So in the meantime, she falls in love with him.
Yeah, here's cutting a branch.
And then she asks him where he works. And willingly, he tells her where she works. And here comes his beloved lady. And she's pretending to be elated. So you have no idea how hard it was to leave all those other guys just to meet you. And look at Irene.
She's not
Irene.
happy.
She already is jealous. And here she is. She went to the place where he works, but he's just so busy, he doesn't even recognize her. So you will see her, they coming out of the building, and she pursues him. He is not looking for her, but look what she's doing.
Yeah.
Now, in this scene, this old man is a producer who has been helping young actresses to get ahead into show business. But he has a price which Irén is not aware of, that if he gives you a job, he wants some favors. So as it happens, he's giving up the old flame and replaces her with Irén.
Hogyha még egyszer öngyilkos akar lenni, akkor kár azért az aspirinét. És azt is meg... De pedig ha táncművésznő akarsz lenni, akkor csak jelentkezz...
Is that the comedian? Is that the comedian, Pal Javor?
And she tells him, if he wants you to be a star, you will be a star. And I think this is a play that he produces. So here she is
going to dance.
Trying out for the part. Well, we just chose this picture to show how many talents she sings, dances, and acts. And I think her husband directed this film. Okay, she's again meaning with his I think by this time he realizes that the other lady was just flirting and nothing serious. And she's madly in love with him.
Itt találkoztunk legelőször. Én itt ültem, maga pedig várt azt az előkelőt.
Ne is beszéljünk róla.
Én nem bánom, mi lesz holnap. Én ma olyan boldog vagyok. Mert én magát kérem szeretem.
Szeretsz. Hát mit
Oh,
szeretsz
and she
rajtam,
tells
hogy
him that ever since he
Nem is
kissed
ismersz.
her, she didn't kiss nothing and no one ever touched her lips.
Olyan. Hát most világosíts fel engem, te kis butont, mit érzel?
And
Azt a
he's
tudja,
wondering
szerettem volna
why
elsői magának adni a gázsimat.
she likes him.
Azelőtt a híd is mindig odaadta az ámormozi titkárjának.
Hát ez kedves.
És én kérem, már úgy megszoktam magát.
Megszoktál?
Amikor itt először megcsókolta a számat erővel, akkor szoktam meg. Miháncs hazamentem, rögtön megszoktam.
Miháncs?
Igenis, Miháncs. És nekem azóta se csókolta meg a számat senki. És azelőtt sem.
Te?
Én olyan álmos vagyok.
Oh, this is the end of the movie.
This is where he's going
So
to chase after her.
a happy ending. Vége, that means the end.
And here we have the photograph of Irén on the Daily
So-
Globe again. And our next film is, well, Judy, you want to set that up? Ida Regenier?
Well, here she is in a convent. It's like a school for girls, and in a way, she's sad because she has a father, a very rich father, and all the other girls get an invitation to go home for the holidays, and her father never asks her to go. And these are little younger students there, and this girl gets a love letter from her boyfriend, and they are giggling over the romantic content of the letter. And when Irén gets a hold of it, she's also reading it, and she also is curious about what this romance is about, because she never had a romance in her life. And then the nuns come, and they also read the letter, and then they say that's very inappropriate. So they, what's that word in English? they told her she can't stay anymore in the convent.
Oh, so she's going to get
And she's
expelled.
like, what?
She's going to get expelled.
Expelled, thank you. And she doesn't want to give away the girls, so she takes it upon herself. Yes, the letter came to me. And then she gets expelled, yes. And I think she's sort of happy because she wanted to go see her father.
Weren't you telling me a story about your Aunt Mariska, about a postcard she received? That was
Yes,
intended.
they had, we didn't talk about it yet. Well, Irén was Yeah, she was born in 1927. Aunt Mariska had a funny story she told often about a postcard she received that was intended to Irene. Her husband, Seika Istvan, went on location to film Rákóczi Nótája. That means Rákóczi was a Hungarian patriot. It was raining, so they could not film. So because all the action took place outdoors. The crew amused themselves indoors, playing cards, checkers, playing ping pong, listening to music, etc. According to Irene, her husband didn't like to be bored, so he found a postcard on the hotel desk and decided to write a letter. Dear Irene, heard you broke up with your latest beau. I would like to take this opportunity and ask for your hand in marriage. And Mariska couldn't stop laughing that Pista didn't even pay for the postcard. And Irene insisted that if the sun was shining, she would never been asked to be Mrs. Seike.
Oh, it's a great story. And here we have Irene dancing on the table at, is this the father's party?
Yeah,
Yep, this is the father's party. And it looks like we have
yeah,
the
that
person
was
from the convent is there. Oh boy.
when Irene arrived. They were celebrating her father's engagement to this person. And
They're going to, as we'll see in the second part, he's going to put an ad in the paper in the next scene to try and find a gentleman to meet her.
okay, so tune in for the continuation of the film, and I will also give you more information about Irene.
And
We are off the air right now.
no, we still have a few moments, but just a few things. Steven Spataro directed a number of movies in the United States and in Hollywood, and one of the pictures was the fabulous Suzanne. Was that
Yes,
was her
that
Hollywood?
was made in Hollywood.
Yes, that's a film. You could find it these days online streaming. It has Rudy Valley in it and a number of other character actors. And then he did a very popular movie based on a sci-fi book by John Wyndham. The Day of the Triffids was one of his 60s movies that had Howard Keel in it. And then in the later 60s, he did a picture with Jim Brown called Kenner, which on occasions it turns up on Turner Classic Movies. But he had a very long career in motion pictures. Unfortunately, Irene was 38 when she passed away.
Yes.
In 1950. She had been, was she ill or?
Yes, she was ill, and in those days they didn't have a cure for diabetes.
But luckily we have, with the internet and DVD, we have a legacy of film that people can see of her works.
And
Was there anything else you wanted to add about Irén before we close?
Yeah, well, Irene was born in 1912, February 23rd, and died 1950, September 3rd. Her parents, Adolf Ágay and Maria Steiner, attended a play in a theater when Aunt Mariska started having labor pains. Irene always attributed her talent to that event. After Irene came Istvan, a boy, then Barbara, whom he called Butchie. Butchie was a good eater, and at mealtime, when the family got together for dinner, it was a nice event with a tablecloth and fancy settings. And she would look at Irene's plate, who played with her fork, pushing the food around, and said, now this is in Hungarian, ha te nem eszed meg, majd én megeszem. And this is like, I know this without even thinking about it because they said that so many times. And it means that if you're not going to eat that, I will eat it. So I heard this 100 times. And when I came to the US, I visited Butchie, who married Tibor Balázs in 1937. They lived in Bridgewood, New Jersey, and she gave me this picture. And I carried it in my wallet for many years. And Irene married her husband in 1934. And Steven, as you know, he was born in 1899. And he died in 1972. And of course, the whole family was devastated that she passed away so young. And her brother flew in from France while Irene was in a hospital, and sister and the whole family were at her side too.
Well, we have definitely a good legacy though left behind, and we'll on the next episode we'll continue with the plot of Ida Regenier, and then we'll get into the next film, which will be the final film. And you want to give us the title of that
You
film?
will be my husband.
Right, right.
That's
And
one of my favorites. It's a very funny comedy. And
what's the title of that film in Hungarian?
it's
Maga.
You Will Be My, the premise of the story is that the girl, they named her Margaret at the time, her friend tells her that to get a rich American husband, you have to be a divorced woman. So she picks on vacation, she gets hold of somebody's luggage and takes the information. And on it, it says Dr. Dobkin. And then she decides that she's gonna pretend that she's gonna be his wife. So the first scene in this movie is that she's knocking on the door of Dr. Dobkin, and neither the doctor nor his servant have no idea who she is.
And all that will be seen in part 2 of the.
But in the meantime, the doctor made a arrangement that his girlfriend should come and visit. They're gonna have dinner together, and then tells the butler anybody else who comes, he should send her away because he doesn't want to be disturbed. But Irene is knocking on the door, and the butler opens it, thinking this is the woman the doctor is waiting for. And of course, she isn't. And then when the doctor comes in, he sees Irene like, "Who are you?" He said, "I have a very important message to tell you." He said, "What is it? Why don't you sit down?" She says, "Because this will shock you." I said, "Okay. So what is it?" "I want you to know that people are talking in town that your wife is cheating on you." I said, "Oh, that's wonderful, because I'm not married, I never was, so it must be a mistake." He said, "Yes, but there is still somebody there who's talking about you, that your wife is cheating on you." "Well, that's impossible. Who is this somebody?" And then she stands up very proudly, says, "I am." And of course, this situation just creates a lot of misunderstanding and comedy, and a lot of other people are involved, because the person who plays her father, his name was Kabus Dula. He was a very famous comic. And I just don't want to dwell into all those side uh, comedic scenes. I'd like to just keep it with Irene and Javor Pál, who was her co-star in this. And he was considered Hungary's Clark Gable. He was in every picture, and it was a big star. And he and Irene made a lot of pictures together. They looked good. So I wish some of these movies can be seen in English, so you could all enjoy it as much as I have.
Or with subtitles on the bottom.
Hmm?
With subtitles on the bottom.
Oh, with subtitles,
subtitles,
yes.